another edition of Jofo in the Ring. And yes, my name is Frank Jofo, and we have a special guest. You might have seen him on Monday Night RAW versus Omas in a 2-on-1 handicap match, but everyone knows him as Mo Jabari, Kid Chocolate. What's going on, brother?
That's me. How are you, brother? I'm doing well, man.
So let's get right to the brass tacks. On Monday Night RAW, what was the emotions you were going to when you knew that you were going to be on Monday Night RAW, even before you were going to fight Omas in a 2-on-1 handicap match?
Man, it's I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a cool moment. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, especially for the boys and girls that do what we do and are grinding. It's always cool to kind of get a little break, whether it's in that form or any other form, especially with a company such as WWE and how big it is. You know what I mean? So it's always super cool to get opportunities like that, whether it is in that situation or any other situation. I thought it was a great experience, especially to be in. I'm from Calgary. I live in Calgary. To do it in Edmonton, where I wrestle all the time regularly for the last 5 years. It was really cool to do it in front of the same fans that I kind of grew up wrestling in front of. So, yeah, it's a great experience for me, man.
I know that because you weren't obviously allowed to tell people you were going to be on there and everything, but did you have any friends and family in the stands to support you at that event in Edmonton? Because that event in Edmonton, attendance wise, was one of the biggest ones in a very long time, and I'm very happy it was in Canada, in our home country.
Yeah, man, it was. I actually remember seeing something about the ticket sales like a couple of days before. It was a near sellout at the time, so I can only imagine by the time the show came, it was a sellout or whatever the number was. But yeah, man, I didn't have my immediate family like my mom or my siblings like that, but I did have a lot of family friends that actually were in attendance that were from Calgary that went up there to check it out, and it was a really cool experience for them to see me, especially because they support me around this area and have seen me in smaller shows. So it was really cool. But I did have a lot of friends and just regular Joes that see me all the time that were there and were very quick to messaging my phone right away as soon as they see me. So it was really good experience overall.
So walk us through walking into the arena and finding out you're gonna fight Omas, because just a little bit of a background story. We've had somebody on the show called Leo Sparrow, Nick Sanders, he was called, and he wrestled Omas, and he lasted 1 minute and 35 seconds with Omas. You guys, you and Joey, lasted 1 minute and 42 seconds, which is more than the Viking Raiders, who are former tag team champions.
Wow.
Benjamin and Alexander, former tag team champions, 1 minute and 25 seconds. So you guys lasted the most out of actual former tag team champions. So walk me through knowing you were going to face Omas.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's kind of cool. Good stats. Man, like I've done a few extra gigs for WWE where you just go out and hang out pretty much. And they're really kind enough to invite, the local guys all the time and kind of give them that experience of being at a high level like that, just how a day-to-day basis works. So it was kind of cool for us to go do it. So I already knew how that system worked from previous gigs I've done. Okay. So it's typically a long day of, just kind of waiting on someone to come find you and say, hey, we either have something for you guys or we don't. So it's a lot of wait around, but a lot of the times just, getting, seeing doctors and, getting cleared or whatever the gig might be. And just a lot of the time just walking around and saying hi a lot of the time. That's all it is. But so for us, the Omas thing came about and they found us and were like, hey guys, here's an opportunity. And how do you guys feel about it? Of course, we were happy to take it. I mean, it's one of those things I don't think people realize how big, especially myself alone, how big that dude is. It's like I don't think TV does him justice by any means. Even seeing him early in the day walking around, it was kind of like, ooh, that's a giant. That's almost. I kept saying he's got like, we're good buddies. He's a good friend. He's a nice guy. But I don't want him to get mad at me. But I
No.
kept referring him to him. Like he didn't seem real. He's got like dinosaur bones. He was so that big, so big that his bones were like not a regular man's bones. I've seen Big Show before. I've seen certain other guys before, not like this guy. This guy was he was a giant beyond giants, man. It was really cool. But just getting in there with him wasn't obviously. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. Of course, you would be if you're standing against a guy who can just crush you like a grape. It was just a hard day of in the office pretty much for us.
What's the feel in the back? Was I know that we talked to Joey Gibson, aka JT producer, your tag team partner in that match, and he said that it was something that was out of the ordinary, not out of the ordinary, but very surreal to be first fighting and wrestling on Monday Night Raw, but then finding out you're fighting Omas is like, I got a game plan here. So did you guys game plan before the match, you and Joey?
I mean, we did. I'm sure we've went through a few game plans, but I don't want to pat myself in the back a lot too much, but I am a smart guy, and I like to say it didn't matter what kind of game plan we had, it wasn't gonna work. It didn't matter how many scenarios we ran through our heads, what we could do, what we can do. At the end of the day, as soon as that bell rang, our faith was exactly how it folded out to be. Like exactly what would happen happened. You know what I mean? We had no chance. We tried, and obviously, according to you, we've lasted quite longer than a lot of people. So there's our plan to last longer.
You lasted longer than former tag team champions, and like I said, I was really excited. Personally, I didn't know who you were at the time. Doing my research, I was very excited to have you on the show. Obviously, to see you on Monday Night Raw with a good friend of mine in Montreal, JT producer, aka Joey Gibson. Yeah. Who is if you want to say, who was the producer? Who was producing that match for you behind the scenes?
Oh man, a great Jamie Noble was the producer. Great talent in his day, and a great producer. I've heard, obviously, haven't had the experience, get to experience him a lot. This is my first time dealing with him. Like I said, I've done a lot of extra gigs before, but I do know Jamie Noble is one of when I was watching Raw back in 2008, 9, all those years. He was a hell of a talent. He was a great talent, and I always watched him. So it was really good to see him and have him kind of help us out with things. But yeah, that was the guy, and he was running around and getting it done.
I asked this question to Leo Sparrow, aka Nick Sanders, and obviously your tag team partner about Omas. I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you think Omas could be a world champion one day in the WWE?
No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. He is, man. We've got to, over the years, we've got to see giants. We've got to see, obviously, Andre, who's the most legendary, the most iconic big mans of all time, or giants of all time. We've seen Diesel. We've seen Big Show. We've seen Khali. Giant Gonzalez. We've seen, you know what I mean? We've seen these guys before, but none like this guy. This guy, and obviously we've seen their. I think Big Show might be the closest in the sense of, or in terms of moving.
Okay.
Big Show was moved, quite, didn't move like a big man. He always did drop kicks.
Yeah.
He could do certain things. A lot of those big guys can never do that. So Big Show was the most advanced big man that the wrestling world had ever seen, or giant the wrestling world has ever seen. Now this guy, Omas, I'm not so sure he can do drop kicks and things of this nature, but in terms of moving, my God, man, he could move just as fast as any little guy. He was fast. He could do little things. So to me, he could really be a world champion. Obviously, no doubt in my mind, and no doubt in anybody's mind. Look at the size of that guy. But also in terms of all-time big guys, all-time giants, he could end up being an all-time great and probably the greatest giants of all time.
I know you have a connection. Well, you're from Calgary, right?
Yeah.
And you have a connection with Bret Hart and Tyson Kidd. Was Tyson Kidd in the backstage for your match?
Oh no, he was home in Calgary visiting
Okay.
family at the time. So we didn't really got to see each other there. I seen him. I spent some time with him the week prior to Raw.
Okay.
Trained together. We worked out, and obviously always loved picking his brain. Such a smart guy, such a kind guy, and overall just the best dude, man. It's always good to have that guy around. And I would be crazy not to take advantage of his brain and learn as much as I can. But yeah, he wasn't there. He was in Calgary, unfortunately.
Okay. And I know you have a connection with the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Did you get to talk to him about the match that you had? Did he give you any pointers to see what you did right or wrong? Maybe to better yourself in the next match if you do have one in the future?
Yeah. I luckily I've got that relationship with Bret where it doesn't matter any match I have, I can always the next day can come back and say, hey man, where did I go wrong or what did I do right? And he gets to help me out and break it down for me, what I did right, what I did wrong, and how to better myself going forward. And it's a great advantage for me, obviously, compared to other people in my level. But I did speak to, funny enough, I did speak to both TJ and Bret the very next day. Okay. On the Tuesday, I went to work out with TJ at Bret's house. So we were working out and training at Bret's house, and Bret was there, and we talked about it. And it was a good conversation, and it was a good experience for me to be a part of that for sure.
You know what? It must be great to be able to, not to maybe pick up the phone and call him at any time, but if you're training with him, to give you some pointers and such. Is there a match that comes to mind when you think of Bret Hart that mimics your character and your wrestling abilities in the wrestling ring?
Man, I'm a big Bret Hart guy for sure. I'm a big fan of Bret Hart, but I don't know, man. There's a lot of matches. Wow. Ooh, that's tough. Maybe Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper, WrestleMania. Was it 9?
I think 9. I was. I'm more of that opening match. I think it was at Royal Rumble,
10?
WrestleMania with Owen Hart, his brother.
Yeah, WrestleMania 10.
Probably one of the best.
That could be one for me too. That could be one. It's a great match, for sure. Also, Bret and Davey. It's a lot of match that we take a lot of things from. Anything Bret Hart, usually, man, it's the best.
I was studying your what you were doing, and is it you guys have a wrestling promotion out in Calgary? You guys are bringing back the Calgary Stampede. Is that correct? You want to talk about that a bit?
Of course, that's correct. Yeah, me and Dallas Hart, Bret's oldest son, Dal, and myself, and somewhat Blade too. Blade's typically busy with school and stuff like that, so he doesn't get involved as much, but he does help when he's needed. But we have a wrestling promotion called Dungeon Wrestling that runs out of Calgary. We've so far we've done 5 shows, I believe, successfully, all sold out every time we've run it.
Wow.
Great talent. We really focus on great wrestling. No bullshit, no nothing. Great wrestling, great quality of wrestlers. We've had guys like Brian Pillman, Davey Boy Smith. We've had, obviously myself. We've had Raj Singh, Michael Blaze, just the best of the best that we can possibly get around here. We have a show right now coming up at the end of the month, October 29th, at the Pavilion, Victoria Pavilion, same place Stampede Wrestling ran every Friday night. It's Too Hard venue. And we have, again, guys like Brian Pillman on this show. We have Harry Smith on this show. We have Chris Masters on this show. We have Nick Aldis on this show. We have the Bollywood Boys on this show. and it's all quality. We have the Billington Bulldogs, the nephews of Dynamite
wow,
Kid
yeah,
on the
yeah.
show. So it's just like I said, we focus so much on great wrestlers and great quality of wrestling, and I think that people deserve that, and people at the end of the day would love to watch really good pro wrestling, and I think that's our focus, and that's going forward. We're gonna get better and better. You know what I mean? We've only done a handful of shows, but yeah, we're trying to do. We're trying to bring back Stampede Wrestling to extent. Obviously, what Stampede did and all that can never be accomplished again. But if we can get even a little bit of resemblance of it, or just even great quality wrestling. If someone asked about dungeon wrestling, if the answer or the reply is yeah, that's a great promotion, a great wrestling promotion, and great wrestlers and great wrestling, that's all we're really asking for, and that's really what we have. Hopefully, going forward, we get bigger and bigger.
If you don't mind me asking, I don't know how old Bret Hart's kids are, but are they training to become wrestlers in the future, or they're just doing it as a pastime? And because what's the story there?
They're obviously they're not old. They're young. I think Dell in his mid-30s, but they're not so much into the in-ring wrestling part of the pro wrestling. I think they have in the past gave it a shot, but not really something they're interested in. It's kind of hard to get into something if you're not fully passionate about, and I don't think they were. But they have other things they're passionate about that they do very well, and they excel on. But they currently Dow's really focused on trying to bring back the nostalgia his grandfather had and all that, and try to, obviously Bret's involved as much as he can be. He helps us with it, booking and getting guys, and just his input, and even Bret's has been at all of our shows, front row, where he's critiquing the guys and girls, and actually give feedback after he watches their matches. So I think we have the most advantage above anybody around. We have Bret Hart sitting front row, and I don't think a lot of promotions can say that.
Is there going to be a special attraction at these events? Maybe a bear coming into play here?
For sure, that's the goal. The goal is to have that Stampede feel. So I think the time, obviously, we have a couple more shows coming up, and I think one being during Stampede again, which is Stu Hart's most famous times of running. He used to run Stampede Wrestling during Stampede, and would bring Andre, Harley Race, and guys like Nick Bonkwinkle, and et cetera, et cetera. He bring all the Bear, Terrible Ted, midget.
Okay, I was going to ask you if there was a name for the Bear, but you just Terrible Ted.
Terrible Ted. Yeah. He'd bring midget wrestlers, all sorts of wrestlers, right? So that was the attraction, of course. And then I think we will go that route. Come Stampede, we might go bring some midget wrestling and some big time attractions. We've got some big names in mind, and potentially when the time does come, maybe throw a little Bear in there. Not as big as Ted, but just a little bit.
Did Bret Hart ever tell you the story? Did he actually live underneath the house? Is that true?
100% true. 100% true. Yeah, wow, he lived right under the porch, right at the front porch, the back porch.
So I guess feeding it was making him happy, so they wouldn't get attacked by it or something. Or
funny enough, Terrible Ted was actually a traveling wrestler. Wow! So he was a wrestling bear that traveled and went territories. So it wasn't just Stampede he went to many different territories and was a worker.
Wow, I'm sure he has a cage match record there on the internet.
Oh, maybe I'm sure.
A winning record. We'll check it out and check that out and see that. But I know you also trained with the great Canadian Lance Storm as well. And we've had Lance Storm on the show. Great guy, great guest. Do you have any great words to talk about Lance Storm?
I have nothing but great things to say about Lance. Lance was a great coach, great trainer, great person, very honest. In a business that has its reputations for dishonesty and a lot of bad things sometimes. Obviously we have a reputation for a lot of good things as well in this business, but sometimes a lot of bad things. And you really don't know who to trust when you're first starting out. So Lance is really a good leeway, or a good way to get into the business, because he teaches you everything you need to know, from wrestling to wrestling psychology, how to carry yourself, how to everything you need to know from zero to hero almost. He was a great coach, great person. We're friends to this day. I always shoot him a text here and there. So yeah, and obviously we live in the same city. I don't quite run into him, but yeah, whenever I do need him, I can shoot him a text, and he's always right there to reply and hit me back. So I have nothing but good things to say about him.
Any ambitions about becoming an actual WWE wrestler in the future, or AEW or Impact? If anybody's reached out to you, or where do you see yourself in the future?
Man, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a WWE guy. I'm a big WWE guy. I love WWE, and I would love to end up there when the time does come. Okay. And I think for me, it's just a matter of when. I don't think I know I'll be there. I know I'll get there. It's just a when. When the opportunity comes, is just stay ready, and in the meantime, type of thingy. Of course, I would love to go to AEW as well. Like I said, I'd be crazy or lying if I didn't. It's another platform. Same with Impact. As far as getting reached out to, no one has reached out to me, but I've had like little mini tryouts with WWE before, stuff like that. So it's just, again, I'm at that stage where, I'm just making a name for myself, and I think I've done a good job of it the last year. I mean, coming out of the pandemic was very difficult to start and navigate again, or whatever.
Especially for people here in Canada, I think we had it worse off. I know a lot of wrestlers in Canada that were almost wanted to quit because there was nothing going on, And
100%. I know a lot of guys that did quit, not almost, but they did quit. It's tough, just in general. Just being in Canada is tough. Everything is so far. Everything is just the headache, and you really, really gotta love this to really want to do it in Canada. But again, if you do love something, you'll go get it. But yeah, I really did a good job this year, making a good name for myself. I've wrestled good, all over Canada. I've wrestled into the States and stuff like that. And obviously that Monday Night Raw appearance helps a lot. I got more appearances coming up here in October, some big ones, some really big ones, So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
I watched a recent interview that you were on, and you said that you were an extra in 2019 for Goldberg.
Yeah, Summerslam. Yeah.
How was that experience being were you one of the security guards for Goldberg?
Yeah. I did his little walk.
Tell us about that, the experiences. That's pretty cool.
Like I said, I always speak well of Goldberg in the sense of he treated all of us nobodies and just a bunch of kids that really, again, we're just guests in WWE's building, and they could have really told us anything they wanted to, and we would have done it. Yeah. But he was really cool, man. He talked to us all. He was making jokes with us. He made us, it was a really tense little time, because they were really direct, very directing. They were directing us on what to do. So it was everyone was kind of uptight and ready to go. But he made sure everyone was relaxed and not worried, and he came and as simple as that little walk is, it was intense. But he was making jokes, man. He made sure to give us advice. He told us his door was always open if any of us had questions or anything we wanted to know. It was really cool to us. So that's my experience with Goldberg, and I have none. Yeah, he was good to us. It was good, very good experience.
And there was another point that I don't know if it's true. Are you originally born in Kenya?
I was born and raised in Kenya for about 12 years.
If my stats are correct, I think you're the second person from Kenya to be on WWE TV. Do you know who the first person was?
Ooh, interesting. Who?
David Otunga.
David Otunga. No way.
Yes. If that is correct from his bio on so I think you were the second person in a very long time to be born in Kenya to be on WWE TV. So that's a great feat.
I never even thought of David Otunga being from Kenya. Yeah. That's really cool. I met David Otunga years back, so that's kind of cool. Really cool guy. Again, very nice guy as well. But I didn't know that. That's cool that I'm the second guy. I'm also the first guy to be to have a Somalian background to be
wow.
on too. So there you go. There's that.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Is there anything else you want to tell the fans before we go? Your journey and everything. What to expect from you in 2020, the end of 2022, and the beginning of 2023.
As far as some, what to expect from me, man. I'm a really hard worker, and I try my best to get my name out there. And obviously, anytime I do get my name out there, I try to give the people a good quality pro wrestling. At the end of the day, that's what I fell in love with, is pro wrestling. So when I do get the chance to perform in front of crowds, I give them that same love that I have for pro wrestling to them, and make sure they get the best of everything, whether it's wrestling, whether it's today's wrestling, whether it's the 90s wrestling, all in one, and my way and my style. So anytime you do see me, you're not going to be disappointed, I would say. But as far as what to expect from me, I got a big, October coming up. I got the 2 dates in Toronto coming up here. I can't really say what it is, but I'm sure you know what it is.
Yeah.
And then after that, I go to a tour in the U.S. with Bret. It's called the Bret Hart Heart Attack Tour with Big Time Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
So I'll be doing that, and some big shows down there. So just October was going to be good. And then obviously at the end of October, we got the Dungeon Wrestling, which is another big show here. So October looks really, really good for me, especially coming off that Raw. But as far as the new year comes, I would say, I wouldn't, I think I'm going to be everywhere, as far as all over the States, all over Canada, maybe even the UK. So, look for my name in promotions near you. You might find me.
If there's anyone that wants to go to the show in Calgary, October 29th, is there a link or a page we could check out so we could buy some tickets if you're in the area?
Of course. You can do it in many ways. Obviously, in today's world, social media makes everything a lot easier. You can go to my page at Kid Chocolate MJ on Twitter. You can find it there. You can find a link on my Instagram page at Kid Chocolate. You can go to Dungeon Wrestling's Instagram and find it, or hell, you can just always Google it and find it on Google. But as far as always the typical wrestling style of walking up to shows, you can always walk up to the show. Dungeon Wrestling at the Pavilion, October 29th. Saturday, October 29th at the Victoria Pavilion, downtown Calgary, Stampede Grounds. That's where you'll find us. Bell time, 6 o'clock. Don't miss it.
That's great. That's great. So for anyone that's watching this, the links will be in our description for all social media platforms for Mo. And of course, if you're in the Calgary area, I would advise you to go check this event out. The names that are on this card are unbelievable. Plus, Bret Hart will be there front row. You'll maybe get to meet Bret Hart at the same time and watch some great Canadian wrestling at the same time. Mo, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I hope all the best for you in 2022 and going forward in 2023. And maybe one day you could get a tag team partner, come down to Montreal and face JT Producer and his partner, Matt Viviani. In the IWS, we'd love to see it.
There you go. Hey, I'm open to do it, man. You showed me some of the stuff over there. They're doing a great job. Big crowds, great energy. I've wrestled in Montreal this summer, July. Good fan base and good city. My first time, so I'd be happy to come back. And obviously, I'd be happy to do it with my guy, for sure.
Well, everybody, follow Mo on his journey. Support him on all he does. And I want to thank you again for being on the show. Best of luck to you. And as a Canadian, I'm always behind the Canadians in professional wrestling. And now I'm going to be behind you as well. So thank you for that, Mo.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for the interview and thanks for the time. Appreciate it, brother.
And I want to say thank you to everybody out there. Subscribe to our channel. And remember, wrestling is life.
So, Jofo, I'm a gargle a shot for Kurt hitting it, everybody, before we go.
Oh, no.
Jofo, thank you guys.